Welcome to the March Astrology Report, and I've got a lot of information for you, so let's get going, because mostly we have like the Pisces energy, and then we have that lunar eclipse coming in. We've got a little bit of Aquarian at the very beginning, getting a little disruptive, and then we have Aries trying to take hold, but it's not going to. So it's mostly Pisces, almost everything, but that enables a lot of healing. That's what it's all about. We're coming to the completion of the astrological year, because then we go into Aries, and we really want to do the work, because we want to go into Aries as a newborn, fresh baby of courage, not just having a lot of old of the energy passing over with us into the new year, and then we become aggressive or defensive. So we don't want that. We got to clean, clear, detox everything, and get fresh for the new astrological year. All right, so let's jump into the lunar eclipse information. The my art rendition of it is not as well. It's not the true coloration. The true coloration really looks like this, and right in the middle there is when you start to get the the warm tones and. But I like my coloration, so we'll just stick with that. Anyway, so the date on that is March 24th through the 25th. And why that is because it actually starts deep into the night of the 24th. Some people are going to wake up on the 25th going, oh, there's a lunar eclipse tonight. When's it going to be? And everybody will be like, it's over. Because it starts on March 24th. For example, if you're in Los Angeles, it's going to start, the very start of everything is 9:53. It goes all through its process and ends at 2:32 for the entire time process of this eclipse. What we're really going to have, though, is only like right in the middle, when you have the maximum eclipse. That's when you have all the cool colors and the really neat stuff that happens when you have almost like the orange reds come through and browns on the moon when it goes into the lunar eclipse, right in the middle time period. But you can always, as you can see up above, there's a timeanddate.com. You can go in and get more information on that. Let's jump right into the March information. As we can see, we've got Pisces everywhere. Look over at all like the blues and everything with all the Pisces. And at the very beginning, we've got a little bit of Aquarius, and we've got a little tiny bit of Aries coming in there, and the lunar eclipse. But, like I said, Aquarius, a little bit of disruption at the beginning. Aries trying to get traction. But really, you need your peace pipes of Pisces, and respecting others and their level of pain, their level of, well, their sensitive side of themselves, especially if you're a real masculine type of person. You really don't want to be vulnerable. It's not easy for you. So we have to respect that with a lot of people when they're going through Pisces. Some people, it's hard for them. If they're really high-minded or very masculine, it can be hard to, well, someone just, says, well, not true with the evolved masculine side, but I'm talking about the high-minded side when it's not real comfortable with feelings, because that's not the role that it plays. We all have pieces of the puzzle that we are and have to play, and so if one person is extremely good on the mind side, they're not going to be real good on the feeling heart side as much, and vice versa. So it's very understood. We don't get to have it all here. We all have little pieces to add into the puzzle. So we have to respect that. And respect everybody's journey within that. So I really want you to have the magical side of Pisces, rather than the pain or the sorrow that can come in on the shadow side. But whatever you need to do, I have no judgment. I'm just going to give you as much information as I can so that you can get as much magic as we can. When we look at the Pisces energy, we look at Pisces has more the flow, the fluid, flowing with the currents, and a deep sea of feelings and emotions and unconscious, not controlling. It's time of not knowing, not in the ego. There's a dissolution of ego. There you have more patience and no pushing or forcing. We have like oneness and wholeness, a connection to source, and let everything exist, and having a level of surrender and allowing and being open and unconditional love. There's a huge amount of possibility for healing and cleansing, to be able to remove blockage and release of hurt, release of the past, and release of bitterness, and not shaming yourself, and allowing forgiveness for yourself and others. That can be very hard, but Pisces really wants it, really gives you the opportunity to do that. The release of the instincts and habits you developed through the whole year out of survival, and forgiving yourself for that, because it's hard. It's hard. So allowing yourself to be loved, the intuition, the intuitive side of you. There's also shamanic guidance that can come in, even like the energetic of the American Indians, and that sort of shamanic guidance, and the mystical, the poetic reflection and expression. We have a lot of prayer and meditation, and we have a level of being that brings in the knowing, unlike the mindful that's searching and finding the knowing, right? The Pisces falls into being in connection with the universe, in connection with source, and then the knowing, it comes in, it's more like channeled in, and that way, that's the way of Pisces gaining the knowledge. Okay, it's like believing in your dreams. It's a choice to let go and have gratitude for the knowledge and experience that we had through the year, because we're coming to the end of the astrological year with Pisces, and then we jump into Aries, being the beginning, the newborn energy of the next year. So here's what we've got. You really want to have the gratitude for the knowledge and experiences, so that you don't take things on as labeling it as part of your identity. And for example, when you have experienced rejection, you can experience it and understand it and get what you need to get from that, but you don't have to label yourself as the rejected, like I am now this. Also, we don't want to do that, because a lot with the universe will just agree with you. The more you subconsciously really feel a certain way about yourself, we're just all going to agree with you, and it's just going to compound itself. So we don't want to do that. Okay, now the shadow aspects of Pisces is levels of sadness and shame and lacking confidence, the pressing unfulfilled emotions, wanting to escape or hide. Sometimes people do drugs and alcohol, not wanting to deal, the indecisive, not wanting to make choices, decisions, putting it off until later, the lost in waves of emotion, where you can feel sorrow or dejected. Who wants to feel that? Rejected or dejected, shut down, you can't function, can go into depression, feeling separated and hopeless. So you can see how the shadow side on Pisces is like, oh, it breaks your heart. It is very heartfelt. And a lot of times that has to do with whether you've done the work with your own mind, or you've allowed and forgiven the bad actions of others within sometimes what they've done to you through the year, to let it go and not hold on to that energy. It's really, really important to do that with Pisces. So you'll get all of those positive qualities, which are a lot, compared to some of the sadder, deeper qualities if you go into the shadow effect of Pisces. It depends on what you're focusing on. It really does. It really depends on what you're focusing on. Okay, so let's go in, because I want to offer you the magic of Pisces for sure. And jumping into just looking real quick of the Aquarius energy from the month before. If you got the clarity and detox that you needed, because Pluto was pushing so hard since we just came into Pluto in Aquarius, pushing so hard to get that energy out. And we have these flocks. You had a flock with Aquarius being air sign. So a flock of energy all in Aquarius, like a stellium of planets in Aquarius. So it pushed you, the tone value just pushed all of anything that was not harmonious. It brought it to the surface, like detoxing it or pushed it out. And so it was really aggressive. But if you were able to look at it on the Virgo full moon, you could get a lot of understanding, and then the step down into the dive into the Piscean ocean of emotions, you could possibly get into a lot of healing. Some of you had a whole bunch of healing at the very end, and I did a lot of sleeping. I had a lot of processing to do. Ooh, that was intense. But it can all be very, very positive. So when we get into what we're focusing on and how you feel about it, that's going to be a lot of this month in March. And when we have the Pisces, we have the completion cycle. We have the healing and the reconnection to source in everybody. Deep feeling, things about what is the dearest to your heart and how your heart feels. So like the Egyptians, when they have that at the end of your life, and we're at the end of the astrological cycle. So with the Egyptians, they have it like if you're at the end of your life and your heart is weighed against the feather. If you have a heavy heart, you don't get to move forward into the next levels, right? Because we want to have a light heart. Light as a feather. And that's what we're trying to accomplish here in Pisces. And the magic of that. Because, oh my gosh, if you can just get into the magic of Pisces, you can have such a good month. No matter whether there's eclipses or not. You'll be fabulous. Okay, so the deep beauty in you connected to source. The infinite soup of oneness. Your expression, even like fantasy worlds even, and how you express yourself. How you want to bring it into the world and who you want to bring it with. You can see the setup of this, the work of the Pisces energy is going to directly affect what happens in Aries. So it's really, really important because the solar eclipse in Aries is going to be really intense. But if we've done all the work and all of the release, it'll be more like a newborn baby, courageous and excited and willing to take chances and just a whole great energy. Otherwise, we'll go into the Eight of Wands, defensive, and maybe even slightly aggressive with Aries if we haven't done the work of release and forgiveness. All right, so at the end of the month, we have a lot of, if you can get into your peace pipe with everybody, you know, just that that aspect of sitting down or understanding and respecting, having respect for other people's level of pain or sorrow, what they went through. We all go through it differently. And if you're really high-minded or you have a lot of male aspect, high-minded energy, that's not as comfortable in feelings. So the way they'll go through the feeling is going to be different than how maybe me or someone else that can dive into the feeling quite fine areas and feel totally comfortable. You just have to have respect for everybody's journey in this, and then it'll be great. That's what I meant, like sitting down with a peace pipe and being, it's all good, man. It's all good. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. You know, the one thing I want to do is, let's get into real quick just some of the areas that you hopefully healed with your traumas and detoxing within February. With Aquarius, if we look back on the Aquarius, we can see all the different, in the yellow, all the different Aquarian energy that came in there. We had the splash of Pisces at the very end. But here's the sort of, you know, you can be genius and visionary with Aquarius and far thinking into the future for immense success. But if you have aspects of your own mind or some people putting stuff upon you, can have the trickster sabotaging and the lack of confidence and and your outlook and your relationships. So we really want to be able to get the most out of that high-minded Aquarian energy. We have like the forward creating, future thinking, smart, intelligent, calculating, good planning, innovative, being able to change the world with your innovations, trying new things, brave, trailblazers, pioneers, teachers, open to humanity. It's a fixed sign, so well, it doesn't want to change a lot, but when it's in its exalted state, it's fantastic. But if you have areas of Aquarius that were hard, that's when you get into the stagnant energy, the paranoid, thinking everybody has an agenda, A lot of times that high-minded can think it's smarter than it really is. That's not a good place to be. Instead of calculating with good planning, you become calculating against something or something else. Of course, remember, you start thinking the world's against you. Instead of having the high-minded humanitarian future thinking, if you get stagnant in Aquarius or pain or trauma within that, you can get into competitive and jealous and, just thinking you have to win all the time. It's judging and arrogant and thinking you're better than others. Let's see, it's actually rather cowardly because it's passive aggressive in its insults and jabs that it feels like what's in it when it's in its shadow stage. Each sign has its exalted light stage or shadow stage. We all have different ones. We just have different ways of coming forward, what they look like. Okay, so some of the behaviors, it can be manipulation, insults, and then garnering sympathy through others. It's kind of a narcissistic thing that can happen there. And yeah, it doesn't want to change. Doesn't want to change a lot. So someone who's in like a fallen sign of the Aquarian energy, or they're doing fallen energy to you, don't think you're going to get any apologies from that person, because it's not going to happen. Anyway, so if we had some of this sort of energy, then we really want to make sure that we work through it. Because, for example, let's look at the cards real quick in tarot. I just want to show you this. When we have these, like the swords and the Aquarian energy, the more swords you get, it's not good. It's not like it's not a good energy. I mean, if you're having like the twos, okay, in the swords, right, and the mindedness, that's fantastic. But a lot of the swords, it's you can do rest and recovery, but a lot of the swords are unlike the heart. Unlike the heart energy here that we have in like Pisces. When you have more Pisces in the 10 of Cups, you have all goodness. When you have all the mind and you have too much mind energy, too much going on with the mind, it's not a good thing. It really, really, really isn't. So we don't want to get hyper with the mind or stagnant with the mind. And when we do, we've got to really work it out. Now, with Pluto coming in, Pluto wanted to be excited of its baby and bring in all the best qualities. So it definitely wanted to detox any of the negative qualities that you might have inherited or might have been given to you through trauma. And we want to let that all go. We want to have the healing. So let's get into some of the dates when it comes to this month of March. When we start off, we have the Sun, Neptune, Mercury, Saturn, and Pisces. So we're deep in it already, deep in Pisces, which is fantastic. So March 3rd, we have Venus in Aquarius, squares Uranus and Taurus. Now what this is a little bit of the disruptive energy, and you can have pressures in relationships. It can be partnerships, it can be work, it can be mate, it can be any of them, but it's disruptive, so you have to adapt or smooth it, be flexible, analyze what's going on in your relationship. And partnerships can break, or you can see who's really solid. Sometimes there's necessary change, like an unexpected job change or position change. And you can find unique solutions within the Uranus. And also be careful with the financial market. It can be very volatile during that time. March 8th, we've got Mercury Pisces, conjunct Neptune in Pisces. So we've got tons of intuition there. We have lots of downloads that can happen if you want to channel or bring information in. Good time to do it. Write down your dreams. Good sleep time. Good to meditate. March 9th, we've got Mercury enters Aries. This is going to be around Mercury's going to be in Aries for 2 months because we have a retrograde in the middle of it. And it's going to try to get a footing here, but it's not going to truly happen until there's more energetics into Aries when we get in April. Because Mercury is the mind, so it wants to fire itself up, it wants to go, it wants to move. But like I said, we also have the retrograde coming in here, and soon the true retrograde doesn't happen until the 1st, April Fools. But there's the shadow period, so it just slows everything down. It slows Mercury down, it slows the mind down, and Pisces does not mind that at all. So the energy is still going to be controlled mostly by Pisces. But with March 9th, Mercury enters Aries. The one thing you do have is you'll find your voice, what you want to say, what you're thinking, what you want to say. Finding your voice, your mind. Your mind wants to start taking charge, willing to do new things, finding a level of courage, taking action, feeling independent, what I want, what's good for me, you start to really consider. And it's okay to think about yourself and what's good for you. Also on this day, we've got two other things happening. We've got the Mars in Aquarius square Uranus and Taurus. Once again, this is, be careful. If you want your freedom, it might cost you. If you want to speak your voice and what your mind's thinking, within your relationships, be prepared. You could be surprised on their reaction or overreaction, and just be aware of that. And let's see, we also have Sun in Pisces, sextile Uranus and Taurus. So that's, once again, tapping into the intuition for surprise solutions or change. Now, coming down, we've got the March 10th. All right, new moon in Pisces. Pisces. Expanding, creating something big. Feels like planting seeds. Planting your seeds of really what your magical dreaming wants to manifest and create. All right, March 11th, Venus enters Pisces. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's such a nice feel. That's gentle compassion. It's actually more creative and open to how love and affection expression comes to you and through you. Definitely. Good month to give of yourself and allow people to give to you. It's kind of like a holiday season in a way for the end of the year. And if you can, what can I do for you? The universe is going to come right back to you with that energy. All right, March 17th, Sun Pisces conjunct Neptune in Pisces. This is very dreamy. You've got Neptune going on there. Creative, visionary. You can get inspiring epiphanies, and ideas are flowing. Look for signs. Open to universe showing the way. What we need to give up to achieve our goals. And not everything is what it seems. That's kind of the Neptunian thing. But it's very dreamy. March 18th. This is the level of just when the pre-shadow happens with Mercury. That's when it's starting to slow down because we're going to go into retrograde, right? That's what I said with the Mercury being in Aries for a long period during this time period. So just remember, slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race. This is what we're doing, okay? And forgiveness, kindness to yourself and to others. Slow and steady wins the race. Centered. So it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Okay, so we've got March 19th. Sun enters Aries. Yeah, it's coming in. It wants to get things moving in Aries. It wants the new goals. It wants energy, and it wants action. It wants to step forward. It's more like this. Start. Just take the first start. You are not going to have a sprint off the line. Not in this month. So it's a little bit balanced with that. Let's take the first step. Whatever your project or things you're trying to manifest, great. And you don't need to be perfect in Pisces. So you don't have to wait until things are perfect. How many times have I already screwed up and not pronounced these things correctly or whatever here? That's okay. Pisces is not about being perfect. So take those first steps. You are all right. Take those first steps. Anyway, so yeah, on the same day, we've got March 19th, spring equinox, right? We have the first day of the new season. Once again, planting seeds. I know some places in the country are like, well, we still got snow and everything here, and I'm in Los Angeles, so I'm feeling like planting seeds. But it's planting seeds in your life. Okay, let's see. What you want in your life, what you want to bring to others, the time to release what is not working for us. Yes, what this month is big release, healing and release. Okay, so to grow and heal, shedding layers that are no longer you. Coming into the blossoming of you, finding that confidence in the I am, because we're going to be going into the I am with Aries. But we really want to do this healing and shedding before we get to the I am. Okay, March 21st, Venus Pisces conjunct Saturn in Pisces. All right, so this is really, when you look at this, what's solidifying relationships, the commitment to your dreams and the people you want in them. Believe in the dreams. Believe, 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 believe. It's big about believing. It's a big manifest month of what you truly believe. So sometimes in life we say, watch what you think. This is like, watch what you're feeling. What you really feel about yourself. What you really feel about others. Pay attention to that. Okay, so that's what this is about. Good time for the arts. Oh, very much so. Expressing beauty. It's a mature romantic expression. That's nice. I love that. Positive self-love. We definitely want to go there. All right, so believe in dreams. Bless the dreams through love. The love energy. Pisces. Don't you love Pisces? I do. I do. I do. I really love the way Pisces. I mean, yeah, there are other signs are like Pisces doesn't really want to get to business and stuff like that necessarily, but I love Pisces. Okay, March 22nd, we've got Mars enters Pisces. Oh, the little warrior. And he wouldn't like me calling him little, but the warrior in Pisces. Mars doesn't like being in Pisces. But what Mars can do is be fluid and flexible, faith, not facts, dreamy. It slows. You're not going to win any wars quickly. Really, this is a time to sit down with a peace pipe. Okay, you know what? You want to look at it this way. You want to be successful, and that sitting down in the circle with the peace pipe is like the best thing that you can do, Mars. So like really truly embrace it and trust the process. Absolutely trust it. Okay, so then we've got March 25th. We've got the full moon, which is on a Monday. It's called the worm moon. That's when the lunar eclipse is happening. So the worm moon is, yeah, that's just the season. It's named after the earthworms that signal thawing grounds. Huh, that's interesting. Now, of course, we've got the lunar eclipses in Libra, which is Venus, right? And Venus is in Pisces. Once again, we are deep. We're deep swimming. If we really want to talk about that lunar eclipse, the one thing we want to understand, and one thing is interesting, is going to be 95.57% of the moon will be immersed in Earth's shadow. A lot of times it happens within lunar eclipses, solar eclipses. We have swift beginnings, endings, and turning points. But if you've done all the work and you're in the magic, it's going to be crazy awesome. If you haven't done the work and the trauma and releasing, well, it's going to turn up the volume on all of that. And it depends on who's playing with who. What's that going to look like? So you really want to do the work. All right, compassion, harmony, balance, and beauty. That's the Libra aspect. Coming in. See other person's side, diplomatic, fairness, leading with the heart. Okay, understand people's differences, calling a truce, right? War or not to war. A lot of times people really worry about wars and stuff starting up. And with the solar eclipse in Aries, if we don't have this work done, then it's a little dangerous around that time period in April. So like, let's get this done. Let's get this done here. Now, okay, we've got the respecting others' pain and sensitivities. And it's like with this time when the American Indians wanted to all come to, north and south, and all of them wanted to come forward with all the tribes and connect and stop warring and have peace. But there was one holdout. There was one that had the identity of being the very strong male, very high-minded, but very strong, aggressive male side. And that tribe didn't want to join kind of like the peace pipe circle because they didn't want to lose their identity. And one thing that the other tribes did is they said, we're not trying to disrespect you and you're not going to lose your power. We will also give you like the title of Keeper of the Flame, because it's very appropriate, Keeper of the Flame. For one, we're not saying anything we don't agree with, but we'd really like you to sit down, and we're not going to disrespect you. We're not going to say that our pain is more, we're not going to get into the more or less tit for tat, or it's everybody's respected. And that's a lot of times what happens when you're trying to do a peace pipe circle with everyone and someone doesn't want to come in. They don't want to look weak. They want to lose levels of their power, or you know, and it's just, you show them respect. And their levels of what they think is important and what pains them, just show respect for all of it. And we can make it. We can all come together, and we don't have to lose our identities just because we all come together on something and become one and not war with each other doesn't mean we have to lose our specialness or the energetic that we represent. Not at all. Not at all. And everybody needs to know that. Okay, so within this, we do have to look at some of the areas of Pisces being a lot of water and everything like that. If there's an aspect where someone's maybe in the oceans and they have their ships or submarines where they're not supposed to be, and someone is feeling disrespected and like you have done this over and over again and you're not supposed to be here, there could be the possibility of someone in the lunar eclipse and the the solar eclipse playing into a little bit of energy coming in, just tickling it. I would just say during this time period, make sure no one's not crossing anybody's boundaries. And because there's so much Pisces, it could be a lot to do with like the oceans, the ocean areas, and ships. Because a lot of times we don't need anybody, we don't need any life lost or stepping on anybody's toes during this time period. We really want to not have that. So something to consider. Not that anybody would be watching this video that was necessarily in the military, but you know what I'm saying. Just respect that. Don't be in the water areas that you shouldn't be in, not during this time period. Okay, so we want to go, the level of Mercury retrograde is going to happen right at April 1st. And there's a lot of reflection in that. And there's a lot of areas where we can admit our wrongs, have self-reflection, commit to new change. Even if you're just admitting wrongs to yourself and committing to new change for yourself. You don't have to announce it to the world, and most people don't want to, because we don't want to feel bad about ourselves, because we usually feel bad about ourselves most of the time, or dip into shame, because that's not what we're doing here. All right, so there's handling relationships and conflicts. Mates are important during this time, especially with like the Libra, the eclipse in Libra. The relationships are important to them. It can be a very romantic time period for people in relationships, like mate relationships. Who's by your side is very important to Libra. Partners of all types, though, are affected. What relationships that we have, and why they matter to us. Okay, who you give your heart to at the deepest levels of your friendships, and who you give your attentions to. It's all going to be reflected upon during this time period. Reflect on your closest relationships, the grounded encouragement and the inspiring part of them. Who inspires you, who's supportive, you back to them. What you truly value in a person and how they interact with you. We don't want anybody in the passive-aggressive insults, manipulations. We don't need that at all. That's the shadow aspect of the high-minded shadow aspect. And we need to either, if you're doing that energy, let it go. You're going to get your butt whooped by the eclipses. But if anybody's doing that to you, you really can let that go. For example, let me show you something. Within this one. Okay, so when we get into the cards with all the swords, with all the high-minded, with all the words in the mind, when we get too many of them and we get things that we've accepted as part of our identity and really stabbed us deeply, we're holding on to that energy. And really, when people do that passive-aggressive jabs and, and the words that they say to you and you hold on to it and you hear it in yourself for a long time, we don't need to do that. We can really, with a lot of the swords, release them. Let them go. Let say, well, I got the feeling and the experience of that, but I'm not holding on to this. That's not part of my identity. And also the thing that you can do is you've got choices. You can let these go and actually give them back to the source from which they came. Now, if we're talking about just nasty, nasty people. I'm all for it. If you got the Ted Bundys of the world, like give them all the swords back. Like send all that energy back to them. These are not mine. Go back to whence it came, and like give it back to source of where it came from, the source. That's fine for like really, really, really nasty people. But here's something to consider. If there's a lot of people to give you this sort of energy, and half the time when they're giving you these swords of thoughts and words and stuff that hurt you, that you're holding on to, half the time they're just doing it through fear and insecurity, and they don't even remember what they said like a minute later after they said it. It's just people do some crappy ass stuff. And if you send all that back to them energetically, they're not going to be able to handle it. Most people that do this type of energy are very cowards, and they cannot handle all of that energy back to them. It's not going to do any good to do that. I've watched it, and it collapses people, and it's bad. One of the better things you can do is you can say, within the universe of this energy, I can take it out of me, understand and respect the information and the experience of it and the knowledge that I got from this, and not take it as my identity. But then I have the choice to just totally let it go. I have the choice to completely dissipate, disintegrate those swords, or what happened to me. It doesn't need to exist in this universe anymore, because the more it exists, it affects all of us. It constantly affects you. It affects the next person. It's like, no, I'm gonna dissolve the energy. I'm not sending it anywhere. I'm dissolving it, and that's like really one of the best choices you can make. And you can do that with love and gratitude of having it, and love and connecting back to source, and that you really don't want anybody to have that energy, unless it's Ted Bundy or people like that. Okay, so where the heck was I? The whole karma, letting things go, this whole month of, or the idea of something, letting it go, working through it, and what are you still fighting? The strain dynamics of eclipses, the opportunity to break cycles and release what is not working. Sometimes it's just the expectations that we have on things that are not working. Sometimes it's the actual things and actual people that are not working, not synergetic in the relationships, or your perception of it, still not working. There's also mend broken situations for good, if both parties are accountable for their actions and willingness to change. I had one just recently I thought was absolutely heartbreaking, but this person is so hell-bent and just cannot behave themselves that I just had to be like, I'm no more. I'm not, you just can't seem to behave. You're so negative. All these things, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm absolutely done. And so sometimes that happens, but most of the time you can do peace pipes and work it out. There's a lot of soft energies with the Venus, Mars, Libra, and the grounding Jupiter in Taurus energy. So there's so much opportunity this month. Let's see, calm, compassion, genuine desire to get along in relationships, holding space for one another, having a healthy dialogue. It's all possible. All possible. So you really get the level of whether you can have like the pain or the magic. Sometimes the pain is the sorrow, the things that you have not worked through that we talked about, and sometimes it's a little harder. Like it's a little harder if it's someone who's like a parent or deep friend or mentor or mate, or like at one point respected boss, authority. Like when people do that, it's the difference of just, when the closer it is to you, the more pain you feel. The farther somebody is away from you, then you just realize you're just being an asshole in the moment. And maybe they are an asshole, but I shouldn't be cussing. I think that's cursing, isn't it, when you say that? Anyway, but really letting those swords go on, because you don't want that karmic cycle to keep going. Keep that crappy energy away from you. Give the burden away to somebody else, or just disintegrate it. Dissipate that energy. All right, we're almost done here. So you can have the magic or the pain in March. You can feel the pain with the sorrow and anger, or you can have the magic, which has appreciation, what you have a true resonance with, and what you stand for, because we're coming into Aries, man. Like what the work you do here is going to set the tone and the things that you bring into your life for the beginning of the Aries new astrological year. You really want it to be the action of a courageous newborn, take risks, forward thinking, with not all the guarded, defensive, bitter. If you held on to anything from the past, Pisces is giving you that chance to release it. Okay, so a good thing to do is like healing, prayer, ritual, religious works, cleansing of the soul, energies, reflect, clear blockage, true, getting true to your life's purpose. And in the end, what we have here is, I love this. I thought this is so beautiful. It's about self-care and internal emotional themes and review of balance within your relationships. The positive side is it is a time to feel deep gratitude for the many blessings you have and experience. It is also a powerful time to recommit yourself to the projects and relationships that mean the most to you. And I was just seeing champion out of the corner of my eye, and I was just thinking in the people and the relationships that mean the most to you, which made me very happy inside. Those are the energetics of the month. You know, if you have Pisces peeps or olive branches, remember, if you have true resentment or they have true resentment inside, it's not going to do any good. I'm just looking at anything else here you might need. Everything's being amplified that's deep within you. It's going to come out, whatever it is that's at your core. Focus on the beauty within. Vision boards are really good. Manifestation journal. The book The Artist's Way is a really great one. Meditate to usher your dreams into the material world. Planting seeds. Congratulate yourself on how far you've come. How much you have accomplished. Right? Your steps forward. It's a slow and steady. Slow and steady. We got this. Pisces isn't going to judge you. If you're judging yourself, it's not Pisces. Right? That's a mind thing that has a dominance still happening. Okay? So offerings, generous and thoughtful gestures to others. You know, to yourself and to others. But consider spreading blessings. Who could need some assistance? The world will come back to you. If you give that assistance, it will so come back to you and give it right back to you. So I don't want to make this video too long. I tried to give as much information as I possibly could. Please subscribe and hit that like button. I would appreciate it. The channel would appreciate it, so we can move forward. And if you want to share this with anybody, but let's end the video because it's already long. And I wish all of you well. I'll try to do some separate videos on just the aspects of the lunar eclipse, just little short videos, but otherwise this is the big long one for the whole month. Okay, all right, love you guys. I really appreciate you hanging out, and you've got all the way to the end of this video. Thanks, you rock. You're awesome. Thank you. All right, let everybody go. Mush mush. Bye.